Hello, everybody, and welcome to Detroit Bruce Backstage. Hope you guys are all doing well out there today. We have an amazing guest that has inspired people all over the world, including our own team here with our family of companies. This man has spoken to the team at our family reunion. He lives our culture and our isms, has worked very closely with Dan Gilbert. I want to welcome my friend and amazing dude, Mr. Eric Thomas.
I need to hire you as my cheerleader. I like all the words you said. Sound better than my
Well,
wife when she's introducing me.
I got to tell you something. I could say a lot more because the list goes on, and all the amazing things you've done for so many people is just incredible. And I'm so proud to have you. And I know that it's going to fire up everyone who's watching this. So thanks for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you got quite an interesting background, and I'd love to take the audience through a little bit of your youth and how you landed where you are today. My understanding is, you basically grew up in Detroit,
Yeah,
since first grade, but when you were 16 years old, you moved out of the house.
yeah,
You were homeless.
yeah,
Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
yeah. I love it. I've never. Hey, Bruce, I love your vernacular. I never heard anybody say I moved out. Say that would have been great. Hey, moving out sounds so more romantic. It's like you got a plan. But actually, man, I had a very toxic relationship with my mom, and at that time, my dad. Now, he wasn't my biological father. My mom got pregnant at 17, and my biological father was not in my life. And my mom actually moved to Detroit to marry and start this whole new life. So it's crazy, Bruce. She never told me the person she was marrying wasn't my father. But I was about 5, Bruce, so kind of knew, I kind of knew, but I didn't know. Like this isn't right, But she changed my last name. He adopted me. Started going to school. So my whole school life, I was, a Thomas, if you will. But I knew something wasn't wrong, and the big part of it, Bruce, is because although I wasn't raised by my biological father, I was raised by his people. So my grandma, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, I just thought he was a friend of the family. Like I didn't really know who he was. We didn't talk a lot. And so Bruce coming up, I just knew like at about 11, 12, it was like, I got 3 grandmas. Nobody else had 3 grandmas, you know?
What
that's
the?
pretty that's pretty cool on Christmas and, birthdays. 3 grandmas is great. But I just, Sesame Street, one of these grandmas don't belong, you know? And so then I started asking my mom, and by 13, she told me the truth. I lied to you all these years. This is not your father. I just wanted to give you a new life. I wanted to give you a better life than I had. So, of course, it caused some problems in our relationship. I'm like, wow, I used to get a whipping for lying, and here my whole life is a lie. My mom's a lie. So I actually ran away from home the first time after that conversation. Stayed away for a week or two, and I began to run away from home from 13 all the way up until I was 16. And I don't know, at 16, I just was like, I had enough. I had enough for the relationship. I had enough for the challenges I was going through with my family. And I was just like, I'm out of here for good. So at 16, I left for good. And that's where, I was homeless, living in abandoned buildings, sleeping in cars, staying at a friend's house for maybe a night or two. I ended up getting a job at McDonald's from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. so I could have somewhere to kind of sleep. Like, here's the thing I tell people, Bruce. You can't go to somebody's house at 8 o'clock at night and pretend like you're not going to spend the night. But you can go at 6 o'clock in the day, 6 in the morning, and just kind of hang out with your friends, and the parents are going to work and kind of just hang out, So it was definitely a rough time. I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't. But, when you're 16 and you're homeless, it's not as bad as you're 30-something with maybe a family with responsibilities or things like that. But definitely sleeping in the cold winter of Detroit, for 2 winters in a row, that it was challenging.
Well, it just goes to show that no matter, what challenges you might have throughout your life, there is a bright side that,
Yeah,
that if you,
yeah,
go for it,
Yeah.
that you can come out,
Yeah.
smelling like a rose.
Absolutely.
And especially right now, because look, everybody's going through, this is a
Yeah.
crisis right now with
Yeah.
this COVID, and everybody's going through stress, mental health,
Yeah. Yeah.
different vibes, like working from home, like
Yeah.
it's just not a normal
It's different.
lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you have that mental capacity to break through and think positive, then you could come smelling like a rose, as well.
Absolutely. This is where when people go, well, why are these isms so important? These isms become the bedrock for how we think and feel. You just said it. A lot is the heart and the mind, but what are we feeding the heart and mind? And speed kills. And so for me, it's like, yo, we're in a pandemic. A lot is slowed down. So this is good. This is good. It's like a lot of people, Bruce was saying, man, look at all the stuff you're doing online. This is amazing. I was doing it before, Bruce. It just people are paying more attention to it because it's a pandemic. So we didn't slow down. We were like, hey, it's a pandemic. Let's add maybe one extra video, or let's start bringing inspiration maybe from the church, or let's bring inspiration from having a call center where you can call and tell us what you're going through, and we can have people, who pay attention to what you're going through. And now a whole bunch of different calls where people who live alone can get on this call and feel like, they're a part of a family. So, for us, it's like speed kills, meaning what? Let's get there before everybody else gets there. Let's take care of the need before it's actually a need,
I spoke to a lot of people, and yes, there is those folks that are woe is me, but then there's those that are toughening up through
Yeah.
this, and they're going to come out stronger on the other side, because when you go through an experience like this, you have no choice, okay, but to take what's coming at you, figure it out, and then after, okay, when the dust settles, you're going to have an experience that you're going to be able to pass along
Absolutely.
generationally.
Generations to generate. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what's interesting is you have another quote, and I think it ties into this.
Yeah.
And it says, "What got you here
Yeah.
won't get you there."
Yeah. Yeah. Tell Tony Knuckles I'll give him credit for teaching me that. But it's this whole idea, and I want people to really hear what I'm saying. You have goals and dreams. There are things that you want to accomplish, and the version of yourself that you are can't get you there. Like you can dream it and believe it, but the skill set that you have is not going to take you there. That's why you're where you are right now. And in order to get to that next level of skill, you got to be tested.
Now there's a setback, and you use the wording execution is worship.
That's it.
But first you got to innovate. You got to think through things. You got to plan.
Yeah.
So the innovation is, rewarded.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but the execution is worship.
Yeah.
And now, technically, I mean, you can scale your business. You can be in Egypt, in London, and in America. You can be all over the world at one time. Okay. I do want to talk a little bit about something else that I've heard you say, and is so true, that success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Okay.
Yeah.
So success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, gump that down.
Yeah. Hey, and not from failure to success, or from success to success. I just want to make sure people hear, from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And I think people underestimate the power of their drive. Like, look, life is not just, we're not robots. Life is not just about getting up and going to work. It's not about just paying bills. It's about a drive. And you see people depressed. You see people clock out when they lose that drive, Bruce. When they lose that drive. You have people who come to work the first couple of years, killing it. And in the third or fourth year, they're like, why am I not producing like I was the first year or two? Because you lost that drive. You see people get married and get divorced. Why? Nothing wrong with your marriage, nothing wrong with your spouse, but you lost that drive. You lost that twinkle in your eye. You lost that bite. Like you lost the reason why you were doing it in the first place. And every day when I wake up, I realize, the very first part of this day is that drive. Like you gotta be excited about getting up. Like you gotta be excited about going after it. And watch this. Some days I wake up with the drive. Some days I gotta prime the drive. All right, you guys gotta hear me. Because you just wake up like that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So we gotta learn that anybody can go from success to success and keep their drive. Anybody go from failure to success and keep their drive. But can you keep your drive when you go from failure to failure? Can you fail and still wake up the next day like, oh, I got a brand new day, let's go? Can you get into a car accident and get out the car accident instead of going, whoa, I can't believe my car, and go, you know what? They make these in Detroit. I can get a new one. All right. I'm just grateful I got out of the car alive. Like I didn't die. Right. So the whole point is, don't let failure rob you of your drive. Don't let COVID-19 rob you of your drive. You can't let the circumstances of life dictate how you move and how you operate. Don't lose your drive.
If you say to yourself in your mind, say it out loud. Say it to your spouse next to you.
Yes.
Say it to your roommate.
Yes.
Say it
Yes.
to your friend. Say it to your kids.
Yes.
Say it to anyone around you. Today is going to be a good day. We are going to get it today. Because you got to start with that positivity. Or if you start with the woe is me, you're just not going anywhere. In fact, I want to say this too. There's this saying that people say, it says, the sky's the limit, right? The sky's the limit. The sky is not the limit. In fact, it says it right on my shirt. There is no sky. There is no limit. Okay.
I love it.
And if you dream it, it can happen. So it's
say it again. Come on, Bruce. Say it one more time.
There is no sky. There is no limit. And if you dream it, it can happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's in your mind and it's in your heart. And if you put it together, powerful things can happen. And you're powerful. And I appreciate the power that you brought to this message, to everybody who's watching. And, I'm going to just say, this isn't just for our team members and for Quicken Loans and our family. This is for everybody.
Yeah.
And, for others to watch and hear what you're saying, well, first of all, they should hit your Instagram at ep6 the Hip Hop Preacher. Yes. Go to your website. Follow you on YouTube, because your messages are so strong and everybody can relate to one thing or another. So you need some inspiration. You need some uplifting. E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher is the man. And thank you, bro. I love the spirit you just brought to this show.
Yeah, and thank you for lending the platform. Is yours. So I understand, as a father, as a speaker, like I just don't let anybody come and get on my mic. There are people that I feel like, we share values, and Quicken Loans, of course. I've learned so much, and please let the fellas know when you talk to them. I miss being home. I miss speaking and doing my thing. So I'm ready to come home when they would have me. But thank you so much for this opportunity. And promise me once a year, bi-yearly, I don't know, but think about me once a year. Let's maybe do an anniversary podcast once a year. And,
I'm down.
Thank you guys so much, man, for everything, man. I really appreciate you.
Eric Thomas, everyone. Thank you.